So, Madman,
Yes, sir.
what are we doing at the moment?
We are driving to North Little Rock, Arkansas for the nuptials of Matthew Orton and his lovely bride-to-be.
That's right, the host of Drunken Cryptids and
Yep.
his wife. And he was kind enough to invite us.
Yes.
And
we were invited, so he can't turn us down.
That's right. And what I'm really eager to experience too is we're going to get to meet JD from Chumming with the Spirit.
Yeah. And there's no telling who else is going to show up to.
You know
to
somebody
this
who is
shindig.
not going to be there?
I believe it is John Methenkamp, the cougar hunter himself, who is stuck at work.
Sucks to be John Cougar Hunter Methenkamp at the moment. So you and I, neither one of us like driving on the interstate. So
Right.
we chose a route that took us from our home in Tennessee. We're on a back road.
Yep.
And we've been on a back road now for about 4 hours.
Yep. And we have seen some sights.
Right. So we've gone through Tennessee, Alabama, and we're currently in Mississippi.
Yes, we are currently just outside of Tishomingo, Mississippi.
Tishomingo?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do today is we're going to record a couple of episodes while we're driving.
Cool.
So for those of you who are out there listening to us, that's why the sound quality may not be as great as it normally is.
And you might hear the distracting sound of horrific screams if something happens.
That's right. And you may hear Siri occasionally, and we have given her the awesome, sexy Australian female voice.
Yes.
Okay. So we figured we'd try to shoot a couple of episodes of Who the Hell Is.
Right.
Okay. So before we get into that, I would like to thank everyone who has been a Patreon subscriber. We've got a lot out there now on Patreon. We're continuing to build that out. So we would encourage you, if you want to support the show, that's one way you can do it. Become a Patreon supporter.
Yeah.
We also have Buy Me a Coffee. Right?
Yeah, we do. And, if you're a Patreon supporter, you get swag.
That's right. You get swag. And we're getting ready to do some other things like, shout outs in character voices.
Yes.
And things like that. But if you're so inclined, please feel free to do that. We would thank you. It helps us pay for the show because the show is free, but it takes a lot of effort and time and money to actually produce these shows. So let's get to it.
Let's go.
I think our first one we want to do on this little journey is we want to talk about Rory Boudreau and Stevie Muse. And
the boys.
Instead of saying who the hell are Rory and Stevie, it feels wrong. I say, who the heck is Rory Boudreau and Stevie Muse?
Right. You shouldn't cuss around children.
That's right, especially these boys.
All right.
So to get started, I guess let's do it this way.
Okay.
I'll ask you, what are they to the show?
Okay.
Hang on, we're on the verge.
Is that a police officer behind?
Yeah. So we'll have to edit that out. A state trooper from the good state of Mississippi came riding up on us at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So we'll start it this way.
Gotcha.
Madman.
Yes, sir.
Who do you think, what are they to the show? And then you can ask me a few questions about why I created them. And then we'll get into how you and I collaborated to make them what they are today.
Okay. So the boys, I believe, are the heart of the show.
Yeah.
The first episode I ever heard with them in it, I instantly liked them. I've known people like them, and they just seem to be cool kids. They're fun characters to play around with. They are what two 12-year-old boys should be, is adventurous and getting into stuff. And our guys are a little different because it's never more hollows and there's more dangerous things to get into.
Yeah. So when you say they're the heart of the show, what do you mean by that?
Well, I believe they represent the innocence, and also, uh, there's somebody to root for.
Yeah.
You always want to root for these kids because they're always trying to do something. They're always trying to do the right thing,
Right.
or trying to protect somebody, or trying to solve something a mystery that went bad, and they're trying to figure it out so nobody else gets hurt.
Right. So Brother Matthew Orton called me here. Gosh, it's been a few weeks back, and out of the blue, and he was like, "Dude," and now the phone call followed a data dump of texts that he was sending me, where you could tell he was just doing this download because he had been thinking about the boys, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And he was telling me what he felt that they meant to him in the show.
Cool.
And he feels that, yes, like you, they are the heart of the show because they represent innocence, not just childlike innocence, but the yearning for the innocence of simpler times. Okay. Like these boys, he feels, are maybe have an extra little touch of the divine.
Yes, I agree with that.
And that they have to be protected. But he loves the fact that we put them in all these crazy adventures to where literally they're in mortal danger in every episode they're in.
Right.
But they always seem to, two things happen. Either they're saved by their father figure, Ivan Ivanovich.
Right.
But more times than not, they have to figure their own way out.
Yeah, but, being guys of the age that we are, when we were young, that's what all the Saturday morning cartoon shows and TV shows and, Johnny Quest, and it was all, they put 12-year-olds in the middle of combat, and so, but that was what was on television. So that was what was entertaining to us. And that's, to me, that they represent those heroes from my childhood cartoon shows.
Yeah. Well, too, you can even take it a little bit further than that. Lassie and Timmy.
Yeah.
Right? How many times was it just Lassie and Timmy out riding,
right,
out in the woods doing whatever?
Yeah, because parental supervision was not a common thing.
Right. And right. And in our lives, we've talked about this on other episodes. We grew up in a time to where, it was starting to get dangerous with perverts and this and that out there. Yeah. But we still had the ability to get up on a Saturday morning, leave the house, and not come back until after dark.
Right.
And for the most part, our parents were like, they're going to figure it out. They're going to be safe.
Or we got kicked out after Saturday morning cartoons when either American Bandstand came on,
oh wow,
Soul Train, or the NBC, was it NBC Sports?
Yes.
Agony Defeat.
Yes.
Guy, and that was when my mom said, "You're out of here," and we were forced to stay outside, so our moms could either clean or just have a rest from us.
Right. Exactly. So we're already getting into that. Well, what do we draw from to create these characters? Well, that gets us to this point. One, we're pulling it from things that we consumed, whether on TV, or I read a lot of books. So I'll tell you, as a little aside, I was an avid reader, right? Reading well above my grade level. And I can remember being a real young, and I was reading. I would be in my evil grandmother's house, and that's a story. She was
evil grandmother.
She was an evil grandmother, and she had these series of the Hardy Boys books.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can remember being 7, 8 years old, and I would sit in the basement. She had this creepy old basement, and I would sit in the basement. I mean, it was almost like a menagerie of stuff. She had everything from dolls and toys. And there was even like a 65 Fender Jaguar guitar that I wish I had today.
Holy jeez.
But I would sit down there and I would read these Hardy Boys books. And it's two boys, and sometimes they're friends, going out getting into adventures. Now, the Hardy Boys were a little bit older than 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
But still, it's in that same vein. And you know, I love stuff like that.
Right. So, fun story. And you've seen this. You were over at the Nevermore Hollows recording studios the other day, which that's fun to say.
Yeah, isn't it, though?
Yeah. Which basically, for those of you who don't know, my son moved out, and it's just his bedroom that we threw up some Christmas lights and we set up a computer table. So that's more than what we had.
Right.
So anyway, I was playing in the worship band at a church of a guy who's a friend of mine, and he's the worship pastor. And this church is an old church. It's 100 years old, okay? And it had a library in it, okay? So I was in there, and I was perusing this library to see what kind of titles are in there. And lo and behold, they had 18 of the Hardy Boys books from 1928.
Wow.
Okay?
That's awesome.
1928. Now, these books were in various, conditions of some were really good, some were not, and they were getting ready to sell all these books in this library because they're having to build a new church because this church has got some issues structurally. And I walked over to the lady who's acting as a librarian, and I said, "I would love those books if you want to get rid of them."
Yeah.
And she said, "Make me an offer."
Oh.
Well, I'd been putting some money aside.
All right.
And I thought, wow, man, these are they're almost 100 years old. And they literally play a seeding role in Nevermore Hollows because it was those types of things that formed my love for adventure stories and mystery stories, and did play a seeding role in Rory and Stevie.
All right.
Okay. So I said, what about $10 a book? Right. And she goes, I was thinking $5. So I paid her $5 a book. She loaded them up. I brought them over to the Nevermore Hollows studios.
Heck yeah.
And they're we've not got anywhere to put them at the moment, so they're still in that bag. It's a nice little tote bag.
Sweet.
Right? So we're really taking care of them. So, that's in a little aside. But back to Rory and Stevie. One of the other things that I draw from when I write them is my brother is about 1.5 years younger than me. Okay. So when I was 12, he was, 10.
Yeah.
I know that's 2 years, but as we talked about before, we were poor white trash.
Yeah.
Right. Well, around that time, we got a couple of rusty bicycles, and he and I would get on our bicycles after school or on a Saturday and Sunday morning, and we would literally leave and have all these adventures. So for a large portion of this, Stevie and Rory canon is pulled from that, because if we talk about the boys, what does Rory look like? He's darker toned.
Yeah, darker toned. He's Creole.
Yeah, and Creole and white.
Yeah.
Or black and white. His mom was Creole and his dad's black. So, but he's got that darker skin color, darker colored hair.
Right.
And Stevie is
Opie.
Right.
He's red haired,
light skinned and freckled.
Yep.
Well, I am dark skinned.
Yep.
Well, I'm not dark skinned.
But darker, yeah.
You can see the Cherokee heritage in me. I've got darker hair. I've got a little bit darker skin. I've got certain facial features. My brother literally looked like Opie Taylor when he was little. He had bright red hair, freckles on his nose, light skinned, and we would get on these bikes and we would ride off and have these adventures.
That's cool, man.
And, like, for example, of course, when you're that age, everything's an adventure. Yep. We had a house, and this is after we moved out of the trailer that we've talked about on some of the other episodes. But we lived in this neighborhood, and there was a house where this mean old man lived, and he had a shed, and it was more like a small barn.
Yeah.
And he had a dog chained in there that was evil. This dog would yell and throw itself at the
Gee
doors,
whiz.
but we never got to see what the dog looked like.
Mm.
The whole time we were there, we never saw the dog
Mm.
in its physical nature.
Right.
It was always inside this barn. So
And he never would
obviously,
let the dog out?
no, we never saw it out. So when we
Wonder if it
started
was the
making
dog.
friends with other boys in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
as you do,
Right.
right? Well, it was a rite of passage. Can you go and can you touch
That's
the
the door.
doors of the
Yeah.
barn? Right?
Yeah.
And of course, this dog is just raging on the inside, just raging. Right? So that was a little addition. So then we start, let's talk about the dog. Well, maybe it's got 3 heads, right?
Yeah.
Maybe one of its heads is a Rottweiler. One of its heads is a wolf. Maybe one of the heads. So now
Yeah.
we're starting to see where stank come from
Right.
in
Right.
our most recent Rory and Stevie
Yeah.
story of the haunted junkyard.
Pretty cool.
So yeah, so there you go. That's where we started all that. So any questions about Rory and Stevie?
Well, what else are they going to get involved with?
Okay, well, that's the fun thing with writing them. When I try to write at least one story a season with Rory and Stevie, and I feel that the one we wrote this year, The Haunted Junkyard, to me is my favorite
Oh, yeah.
one of theirs.
Yeah.
Because
I agree on
it
that.
incorporated so many things. Because we had talked about when I was trying to write that story, I bounced some ideas off of you, as
Mhm.
we do, but I even bounced a couple of ideas off of Brother John
Yep.
Metzenkamp and Matthew Orton, and we all were trying to figure out what would these boys need, what would they be going for, what's the treasure that they're looking for.
Yeah.
And we had some great ideas, but at the heart of all those ideas, it didn't ring true to me. These boys are not interested in gold. They're not interested in silver. So that's when we came up with the idea. Well, we already have established that they're comic book lovers.
Yep.
Okay. So we decided that they were going to go for that Tales of Suspense.
Yeah.
Issue 22. I think it's 22.
Yep.
And that was in The Nomad.
Right.
So that story, as we were writing that and trying to get that worked out, that even helped solidify the fact that they are, it's the cool stuff that they're after.
Right.
And then that, you and I got into a conversation about what is treasure.
Yeah, and to a 12-year-old, that would be treasure.
Yes.
Money and stuff, that is fleeting, but to hold a holy grail like that episode or that issue of the comic book,
Mm-hmm.
that would be awesome. And of course, the signatures that were on that comic
That's
book.
right. So, and then you and I had a much deeper conversation, off of that about why does our treasure change as we get older?
Yeah.
I mean, we get caught up in the chasing of money that we forget that the treasure is the journey. The treasure is never money. The treasure is something or someone that is unique.
Right. And the memories that are made from these journeys,
Mm-hmm.
those end up being the most precious things.
Right.
Because money's money.
Yeah.
We need it, we use it.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, it's things.
Right.
And now, that sounds very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Liberal.
No, more like,
Communist.
no, it's, I must have things,
Right. Oh,
no, I'm not saying that, and, in the words of the great late George Carlin, we got too much stuff.
Yeah.
But, it's just, I'm a collector.
Yeah.
And I have honed my collection down to just things that I find valuable.
Yeah.
And, my wife has spent the summer cleaning out the house. We are true empty nesters now, and we don't have any children at home. And she dug out my son's Hot Wheels collection. And I'm like, don't touch that.
Yeah. Well, case in point, when you're over at the Nevermore Hollow Studios,
Yes.
you notice right there on the microphone interface, I've got that little Lego Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Okay. That little Lego Boba Fett was my son's favorite toy.
Yeah.
We had so many adventures with little Lego Boba Fett, me and him. And so when my son got old enough to where that was no longer his thing, and now he moved out a couple of months ago, right? That has become one of my most closely held things. Even when my daughter walks in and goes, "Why do you have that there?" Leave it alone. Don't even look at it. Don't look at it.
It's just things like that mean a lot to me.
Yeah.
Just like that means a lot to you. So, the boys would find a vintage collectible comic book more precious than bags of gold. And they also, through their innocence in that story, found out that the monster wasn't really a monster.
And that was the biggest treasure they found.
Exactly.
Not just for them, but for the bull man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's, if they weren't the innocent children that they were, they couldn't see who he was.
Right.
Because, everybody else just look at him and he's a monster.
Right.
And they saw that he wasn't.
And when I write these stories, I'm always challenged going, okay, as an artist, you are, even as a graphic artist like yourself or a cartoonist, you always put something of yourself into what you're creating.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So when I'm writing these stories, I obviously some of my own personal philosophies are in there. So like, for example, here we are, we're saying, hey, if you want to support the show, do this, or this. Well, it's all that does is help us create more.
Right.
We're not trying to build wealth in this. We're trying to create a situation where we can write more stories.
Yeah.
We can do more art. And
we were just talking right now on our trip here. We're both taking mental snapshots of things we see to use in stories. And by the way, I think I just saw an alligator in that creek.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So,
so that would be something to explore while we're talking about who the heck is.
Yeah.
And, because the whole concept of these is to flesh out characters. Why do we write them? How did we come up with these characters? And which I need to get to the point of when did I actually come up with these two characters?
Yes.
But to riff off of what you're doing, one of the reasons we chose to come to Backroad is because there's so much more life to see on the Backroad.
Oh, heck yeah.
So already today we've seen what kind of hearse?
We saw a 50-something Packard hearse that if I had the money, that thing would be mine.
It was just sitting on the side of the road.
For sale at a piddly little car lot somewhere in Mississippi.
And then we saw a creepy building overgrown with kudzu and whatever.
Yeah, it looked like Satan would walk out of there, washing his hands.
Right. So these are all moments of inspiration as creators where we go, will these elements end up in a Nevermore Hollow story?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, of course.
Kudzu overgrown equipment. I've seen many, many abandoned homes and cute little churches that in the daytime look amazing and at nighttime probably would be as creepy as they could be.
Right. Well, already this morning as we've been driving, we've seen a number of those little churches out in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
We've driven through cornfields this morning. Cotton fields that are just starting to bud cotton. So all these things as Southern creators, even, because we're proud to be Southern boys.
Heck yeah, we are.
And we're proud that, our Southern sensibilities get put in our stories.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But these things, by the time we get to the hotel, I know Matthew is wanting to go and celebrate and go, but I'm ready to write, man.
Well,
I'm ready to sit down and write.
I brought a sketchbook in the bag, because I don't go anywhere without a sketchbook.
Right.
But yeah, there's stuff that's got to be put down on paper, and but vast stretches like we're looking at right now, and I know you can't see it.
Yeah, we're surrounded by fields right now,
and irrigation's going, and things are just green and gorgeous.
Yep.
And
we're out, and it's a leisurely countryside drive, and so and it's a beautiful. Right now, it's 2:00 in the afternoon, and we're in northern Mississippi.
Yep.
It's got that southern honey drawl thing. Here we are. It is literally we could have taken what we're driving through right now and say this is a part of Nevermore Hollows.
Oh,
and we could see the boys riding their bicycles down the side of the road.
And I even see the bicycles. My bicycle was pieced together.
Yeah.
And and paint spray painted black.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And but yeah, I see these guys, and again, I've said this many, many times. Alan writes. When he writes, I see what he's writing. I see it in my head, and I know exactly what the boys look like, and what they're going to do. And it's one, as characters, they can't help but dive head first in all these things that they've been told not to.
That's right.
And you don't tell a 12-year-old not to, because they're going to do it.
Don't go there.
Yeah, they got to.
Well, now I'm going to go there.
Right? That's why no trespassing signs were made for 12-year-olds.
That's right. So I'll tell you a little insight on Stevie and Rory that you may not know. All right, so you know that my favorite form of music is the blues.
Oh, yeah.
Now, obviously, I've been doing a lot of punk here lately because I also love punk and grunge and all that, but what calls to my spirit is the blues.
Amen.
Well, when I'm talking about the blues, I'm talking Muddy Waters, Robert Johnson.
Yes. Old school.
Yeah, all those old school guys, man. Lightning Hopkins. Those cats, man. The guys who it's raw. But how I came to the blues was Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yep.
So Stevie
is.
Yep. He looks like Opie, kind of like my brother.
Yeah.
But Stevie was actually named because the day I was looking for a name for that particular character, I was listening to Stevie Ray.
Stevie.
Now, Stevie Ray was my gateway to the blues. Now, then I got into B.B. King because he loved B.B. King. Albert King, got into those cats. So they got me deeper.
Yep.
So they're important to me, but they're not as important to me as the old original blues men, but they're still important to me. So then I was trying to think, well, what's his, if in my mind, I know that he's named after Stevie Ray.
Yeah.
Okay. Then his friend has to be named after a blues guy too.
Okay.
Well, I had come upon another, blues guy. Okay.
Yeah.
And his name was Rory.
Oh, yeah. Who?
Okay. Rory Gallagher.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Rory Gallagher resonates with me even more than Stevie Ray did. There was something special about Rory Gallagher's music.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was, where Stevie Ray was a couple of steps beyond and had, his blues was a little bit more polished.
Mm-hmm.
Rory's wasn't quite as polished.
Okay.
And he actually came before Stevie Ray.
Right.
But both those guys were the ones that got me deep into the blues. So anyway, I thought, well, it's a little fun nod, wink, wink.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Stevie Ray and Rory Gallagher ended up being, Stevie Muse and Rory Boudreaux.
Very cool.
So their first story was Trailer 66, right? And I was thinking about those moments in my life as a 12-year-old boy where I was riding around with my brother and our friends, and we were getting into these little mini adventures.
Right.
And I was thinking, too, and this is before you came on board, I wanted to tell a story about two boys that go on an adventure.
Okay.
And I also wanted to tell a haunted house story. Well, we've all heard haunted house stories a million times. So I thought, well, since I'm writing, which you have now coined Southern or Redneck
Redneck
Gothic,
Gothic.
right? And I knew I was a Southern writer writing with a certain voice,
Yeah.
I thought, well, what if these boys were in a trailer park?
Oh, haunted trailers. Yeah.
And what
I can
if,
see that.
yeah, so actually how it went, as I came up with the boys first,
Mm-hmm.
their first story, I was trying to think, well, how do I tell a haunted house story? Well, I'll tell a haunted trailer story.
All right.
Well, if I've got a haunted trailer, where is that trailer? Well, I had to create a trailer park for that haunted trailer.
Yes.
So that one story gave us so much of Nevermore Hollows. It gave us Stevie and Rory. It gave us Dale Earnhardt. That just passes. That's what. So anyway, it gave us Stevie and Rory.
Uh-huh.
It gave us the Pink Flamingos trailer park.
Yeah.
It gave us the haunted trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It gave us so much.
Oh yeah. And the trailer park is like Winona's Waffle House in Nevermore. There's always something going to happen there.
Yeah.
It's either going to end there or, but that's where most of the adventures, if you haven't listened and this is something that you're starting, that's where most of the adventures start, because the trailer park is haunted. And sometimes there's 100 trailers there. Sometimes there's 98. They pop in and out of existence. And, but that's where, the boys live. That's where they patrol, as they say it.
Yeah.
And those are the people that they try to protect.
Yep. Even though some of those people don't seem to deserve protection.
No, but
that shows you their heart.
Yeah, because that's what true service is protecting those, even though they don't want it.
That's true. So, neither of them have
dads.
Have dads.
No.
And one for a tragic reason, one because his dad was a douchebag.
Right.
But they have found their father figure in Ivan Ivanovich.
Ivan Ivanovich, yes.
Yeah, which, this is a great episode that if you've not listened to the Who the Hell is Ivan Ivanovich, mm-hmm. This would be a great episode to go to next.
And the reverse is that I think Ivan has found, these two little boys who are his surrogate sons.
Yeah.
That he didn't know he needed either.
Right.
And it's given him another purpose than just taking care of the trailer park.
And I got to tell you, I'm constantly now asking you things like, are our characters clearly defined? Do we have characters that are growing? Do we have characters that you care about? Do we have characters that you hate? And when I think about these two boys and Ivan,
yep,
it becomes easy to write those types of things, because as a writer, you always want to write that kind of stuff. You want somebody to go, oh my God, I love these characters and I feel for them and I love the growth that they're going. But sometimes it's hard to pull that off. But when you get three characters like Rory and Stevie and Ivan, and they are clearly defined, and when you have that moment where you realize, all I have to do as a writer is I don't have to sit down and go, oh, I got to go write a Stevie and Rory story. I go, I wonder what the boys are in.
Yeah, you just drop them in the middle of a situation.
Yeah, it's literally
scenario, and it goes.
That's right. It's literally like there's a compartment in my head where I go, let's go and open up that door.
Yep.
And when I open up that door and peek inside, the boys are already in an adventure. I'm just there literally trying to get it caught in the moment and write it down on paper.
Well, it's almost like they ride by on their bicycles and say, come on.
That's right.
And you're on the in the ride with them, and then we'll just see what happens. What are they going to discover? What are they going to have to fight? How are they going to have to deal with it? And but those stories are some of my favorites.
Yeah, they're definitely my favorites to write, and especially now that we have introduced Cosmo Cleek.
Yes, the great wizard of the trailer park.
So the boys, I'll tell you this: I do not know what the next Rory and Stevie adventure is.
Yeah,
but I can tell you this: they're gonna spend a lot more time with Cosmo.
Awesome. Well, I mean, we've got a lot of denizens of the trailer park. That is where the cougar hunter lives. That is where Ed lives.
Yeah.
Cosmo lives there.
Yeah.
The Bruchot sisters live there.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't realize until just now how
Yeah.
many folks in Nevermore Hollows actually live in the trailer park.
You know, Granny Dingo lives there.
Yeah.
Our trailer park Medusa lived there.
Yeah. She may still be.
Maybe not, you know. And then there are other things that live on the outskirts of the trailer park.
Yeah.
You know, things that you might not want to meet in the dark.
Yep.
You know, and then, you know, we have McCready.
Oh, love McCready.
And
so I think we do need, before we can end this episode, we need to understand McCready. How can we talk about Stevie and Rory now without talking about McCready?
Right. And McCready, I don't know if you've paid attention, dear listeners, but McCready is not your average dog.
Nope.
McCready is possibly something other than your average dog. But the one thing that is true is that he loves those boys dearly and they love him.
Yes.
And he, you know, he is truly devoted to them in whatever endeavor they decide to do. McCready's all in, no matter what.
You know, and that's the thing. Even when they're reading comic books, he's there reading. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I'm not ready to say if he's sentient, but I am ready to say that he understands that the boys love these pictures, therefore he loves the pictures.
Well, and I think it's just the act of being near them.
Yeah.
You know, and of course that's the old, there ain't nothing like a boy and his dog.
That's right.
But, you know, but this dog has boys.
Yeah, right.
You know, and there's, I think he would defend them, to the end.
Well, and he did.
Yes, he did.
He did. Now, and you know, this kind of made me lie. Okay.
Yeah.
So I told a friend in Australia.
Right.
I haven't talked to him in forever. Darren Burton. If you're still listening to the show, brother, I hope to connect with you again. But I had told him one time that I would not ever bring somebody back from the dead.
Yep.
When they die in Nevermores, they're dying.
Right.
They're dead. But when we killed McCready, I was like, no, the boys need their dog.
Yeah.
The boys need their dog.
Yeah, you know, and he, you know, let's take a line from The Princess Bride. He maybe was only mostly dead.
I love that line. Yes. So thank goodness for the Pixies.
Yes.
That brought him back to life.
You know, that gave him that little boost.
Yeah.
And because they probably saw what he was.
Oh.
You know, and the boys just see a good friend.
That's right. And how he came into their lives was the story, the Dogman story.
Yes, yes.
And we'd written, a handful of stories by that time with the boys. And I thought, they have each other, and they've helped each other get out of scrapes.
All right.
But we needed to introduce something that both of them could love unconditionally and that would love them unconditionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a way, like you say, that 12-year-old boy should have something, that's a dog. It's a dog.
Well, because the dog's going to, dogs don't care. They're just going to go with you.
Right.
And McCready, he's just happy to be there. But he always has the one thing that we always say in every story involving the boys, situational awareness.
That's right.
He's always on guard against something because those are his boys.
That's right.
And I think that's a privilege. I think, if we could have an insight to, pets in general.
Yeah.
I think to have, we always talk about having pets, but I think lots of times it's a privilege to them to have a human.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I agree. So there you go. So, folks, we appreciate you listening in on this episode of Who the Heck is Stevie and Rory, and as a little extra bonus, McCready.
Yeah, McCready.
And we are thankful for all of you who listen. We are thankful that you're sharing the show, that for those of you who are supporting the show with Patreon, and we are looking forward to what may come of this trip.
Yeah, right.
Who knows what stories will come out of this, but we will see you all on the next episode.
See ya.